Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about 3 must-own REITs to buy and hold forever. Now, as always, I'm not a financial advisor, and you should not take anything in this video as financial advice. Please do your own research and make your own decisions. Today I'm coming to you from beautiful Siem Reap in Cambodia. We are here to visit Angkor Wat as we travel the world. So the topic today is REITs, which stands for Real Estate Investment Trusts. And these are companies that own or operate income-generating real estate, allowing investors to gain exposure to real estate without having to own a whole property themselves. So think of it this way. Most of the time, traditionally, if you wanted to have real estate, you'd have to buy a house or a property, and those are very expensive. And then you have to do all the upkeep, the maintenance, the rental, all that. With a REIT, they buy tons of properties, then they pool that with all the investors. So you're buying just a fraction of thousands of properties across the world, and then they pay you income every month or every quarter in a dividend. So it's a pretty good setup for someone that wants to own real estate but doesn't want to have any of the hassles or trouble that comes with purchasing big properties. So few key benefits of REITs we'll go over before we get into the 3 REITs I'm very interested in. The first is income distribution. REITs are required to distribute at least 90% of their taxable income as dividends, so they're not holding money back. They make money on rent from companies or people. They're giving that to you as a distribution every month or every quarter, and that is why REITs traditionally have a very high dividend yield. Second is diversification. They have a lot of properties. So if you're buying a property yourself, you're buying just one property. Something happens to that property, something happens in that market, that could go down. They have thousands of properties all over the country or all over the world, so you're diversified in the ones that you are owning. Third is liquidity. You all know what it's like to buy and sell a house, to buy or sell an apartment. It's tough. It's going to take you months and months and a lot of hassle, a lot of costs involved. This is just buying a stock. You can buy this in just a few seconds on your phone, and if a week later you want to sell it, you can just sell it. So it's a lot more liquid than trying to own an actual apartment building yourself. And then lastly is portfolio diversification. REITs often do well when other stocks are doing poorly and vice versa. So it's a great little thing to add to your portfolio and kind of stabilize it in your retirement years. So I'm going to highlight 3 REITs today that I want to own for the long haul, and I'm also going to give you the price that I'm looking to buy them at. I do want to say that when you buy a REIT or buy any stock, the price is important, because if you overpay for a stock, you're going to be starting with a lower dividend yield than you would if you'd waited till you got that stock at a better price. So I'm going to give you my price targets. You'll have to determine what price is good for you for your own portfolio. Let's jump right into the first REIT. And this is one that I didn't expect to be on the list until I actually dove in and did the research here this week. REIT number 1 is Agree Realty, ADC. We have owned this REIT before. We don't own any right now. But I was originally considering Realty Income, which is another very similar REIT to this. But I decided to go with ADC because I think it's just a better overall REIT for the next 5 years right now. Now, what Agree Realty does is they develop and manage single-tenant retail properties under long-term net leases, and they own 2,422 properties in all 50 states. Key tenants are companies like like Walmart and Tractor Supply. So essentially, if you don't know this, companies like Walmart, Home Depot, Best Buy, all these companies, when you go to one of their stores, you go into a Walmart, Walmart doesn't actually own the building that the Walmart store is in. Companies like Agree Realty and Realty Income, they own the actual buildings, and they lease those to companies like Walmart. So Walmart pays them a rent every month, and that's just a very consistent thing, because the only way that they're really not going to pay their rent is if they go out of business. And if you have good tenants like a Walmart, they're rock solid, they're not going to go out of business. So it's a pretty predictable cash flow stream, unlike having just like one tenant in a rental property. If that one tenant you have leaves and kind of leaves you, high and dry, you're kind of stuck for a few months with no income. So that's kind of a great thing about Agree Realty is they do have a very good tenant base. So let's jump into some stock analysis on this company. Stock price right now is $76.66. My buying zone for this is anything under $70, preferably $60 to $70, because it has shot up a little bit here in the last few months. It does currently pay a dividend yield of 4.1%. And the great thing about this one, though, is that the 5-year dividend growth rate is 7%. So it is growing at a pretty high pace, quicker than a lot of REITs do. And that's going to shoot that 4.1 up quite a bit higher. And if you can get this at a better price, your starting yield will be better as well. So that's kind of the particulars of Agree Realty. Now I want to talk about what led me to put Agree Realty in this video over Realty Income. And I started doing some analysis because the real thing is, who are your tenants? Who is going to be paying you that rent every month? And I looked at the comparison between Agree Realty and Realty Income, and Agree Realty just has better tenants. If you look at their top tenants, Walmart, Tractor Supply, Dollar General, Best Buy, you see a lot of financial ratings of very strong, robust, strong, solid, and a few that are struggling or stable or challenged. But the thing is, Realty Income has those same ones, and they have more that are struggling. They've got Walgreens, Dollar General, and Dollar Tree as their top 3 tenants. They're all sort of struggling right now and could continue to struggle. So when I look at the overall portfolio of tenants, which is the most important thing, Agree Realty is just better positioned to have a better customer base over the next few years. Let's look at some of the retirement things you'd think about if you're a retiree and you're wanting to own a stock like this. It does provide stable dividend income, 4.1%, with reliable monthly cash flows, strong dividend growth. It is a low-risk portfolio. It's got a fair valuation right now. I wouldn't call it undervalued. I'd call it fair valuation, which is why I'm looking to get it a little bit cheaper than it is. And then it is defensively focused with 2,271 properties. So it's a stock that I'm very interested in, have owned it in the past, like we said, want to own it again. I just think it's a little bit high right now. If we get a little pullback, I will be buying quite a bit of Agree Realty. Next up is a different sector. This is going to be stock ticker MAA, Mid American Apartment Communities. And this one is a little different. So they are the largest operator of apartment communities in the United States. And that is a pretty unique thing because we often talk about real estate. We talk about buying a house, or sometimes people say, oh, I own a little apartment. A lot of work comes with that. But with this, they're doing all the work for you. You're just owning the stock and getting the dividends. They own over 300 communities in 16 states, and they do have a focus on the Sun Belt region of the United States. Stock price $164 right now. My buying zone is anything under $145. This also has had a little run up in the last month. There is a lot of good reasons here to own MAA, one of which is they are growing their dividend as well. They've had about a 5% dividend growth rate over the existence of them for the last 10 years. And what I really like about them compared to some of the competitors, though, is I dug into where are these communities actually located. Because, again, just like the commercial side, you want to know that your properties are going to be full of tenants and that you're going to be able to raise the rates on those properties. So when you look at where Mid American Apartments are located, they're located in Mid-America. That's not real hard to figure out, but they do have some in places like Florida, Colorado, and Texas as well. You see here their top metropolitan areas, and then if those areas are predicted to have population growth or decline over the next 5 years through 2030, and what the annual rent increase is supposed to be. So of all of these top 15 markets they're in, all of them except for 3 are going to have strong growth, And those three, South Florida, DC, and Denver, are going to have moderate growth, which is still pretty good. Then you've got annual rent increases of anywhere from 1.5 to 4% in all of these markets. And that makes it pretty attractive to me. Then you go by what is the company's track record. Taking this just from their own website, they just announced the dividend payment, and I'll just read you what they said. This announcement represents the 125th consecutive quarterly cash dividend declared by the company. MAA has never reduced or suspended its quarterly common dividend payment in its over 30-year history as a public company. So, it doesn't get much better than that. They've got 30 years of not only paying a dividend every quarter, but raising that dividend every quarter. So I am buying MAA if it gets back down to 145. Don't have any right now. We have had it in the past. We bought some a few years ago, sold it when it got up high, and now I'm looking to get back in and hold it for a longer period. REIT number 3 we're going to talk about is Prologis, PLD. It is a REIT specializing in real estate, owning and managing high quality distribution centers and warehouses. So they have 5,577 buildings in 20 countries, including major U.S. markets. They serve 6,700 diverse customers, including major corporations like Amazon, FedEx, UPS, and Walmart. So this one, again, is different. We've got 3 real different REITs here. One serving commercial, one serving residential, and one serving industrial and warehousing. This PLD is got a stock price of $104.50, and it is pretty fairly valued. Actually, I think it's undervalued right now. I'd still like to pick it up at around $100. They do pay a smaller dividend, 3.7%, but the growth of that dividend is going up every year at a quicker pace. So 10 years from now, this dividend could be higher than the other two simply because they're growing that dividend at a quicker pace than the other companies are. Now, when you look at what companies are their tenants, it gets pretty exciting because we're just going to read the list here. Amazon, FedEx, UPS, DHL, Walmart, Home Depot, XPO Logistics, Costco, Nike, and Target. And most of you probably have heard of most of those, and you know that they're pretty strong businesses. You can see over here, financial rating. They all have very strong, stable, and strong ratings, which is what you want in a company like this. You don't want any surprises. You don't want people not paying your rent. That's why you have these companies. Then for retirees, when you look at why this is a good stock to put in your portfolio, there's a lot of reasons here. Stable income, strong growth. There is a low risk. They have a 95% occupancy rate. It is currently undervalued, I do believe. Again, I'd like to pick it up a little cheaper, but they are a huge company. Now, they do have a little situation where their CEO may be retiring, but that is going to be mitigated by the fact that they do have a lot of long-term leases already locked in and things already on the books for the future. So I think this is also a great REIT. That's 3 REITs, 3 different sectors. When I'm buying REITs, I want to keep it diversified, even that I have apartments, I have retail, and we have some industrial. So these are 3 we're going to be looking to pick up in the next 3 to 6 months. If there's a pullback, we'll pick them up as soon as we can. I would love to know your thoughts on these. Do you own them? Do you think you're going to pick some of these up? What are some other REITs you are really interested in? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Guys, if you like this video, please give me a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and we will see you on the next video.